It was like, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your long hair, but like, Adria, come to your door. God made me disappear. Hi guys, it's Adria. Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am going to be doing an update on my neighbor situation, my previous video about my neighbor. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out first so that this one makes a bit more sense. Because if you kind of come into this with no context of what happened before, it might not be a whole story. So this is an ongoing thing. First of all, I want to keep my voice relatively low because I feel like the walls have ears here. So maybe I should have filmed this at my mom's house now that I'm thinking about it, but you know what? Don't really care. So, okay. Update on my neighbor. I get a lot of comments frequently asking, hey, what's the neighbor situation? Is that all good now? Long story short, no. It's not all good now. I did get a few comments that were a little bit, I don't know, they rubbed me the wrong way because a lot of it was people being critical of me not calling the cops, and I wanted to address that. Why didn't I call the cops on my neighbor? That whole day I was in the midst of ongoing panic. That was probably one of the worst days mentally I've had in a really long time, like years. I can count my worst days on one hand, and that was one of them. Like mentally, I was just not okay that day. I don't want that to be like an excuse, like, oh, I can't do anything because I'm having a panic attack all day. That's not an excuse, that's what happened. I was gonna post just like a little video to my channel of like, hey guys, this is why I'm not posting a video today, because I was gonna upload a video that day and I was filming on my phone and then I just couldn't even speak. I just went into like full on crying, hyperventilating panic mode. So I do still have that. I don't know if I ever want to release that. Maybe if I do a video talking about panic attacks and things like that, maybe I could include that. I haven't even rewatched it because I feel like even just watching it, listening to it again would just take me right back to that headspace. So I don't even really want to put myself there. But that was not a good day for me. And that whole day I was just bombarded with, you should do this, you should do this, you should call this person, you should go to the police, you shouldn't go to the police, you should get a wellness check for her. All these things were coming toward me and I didn't know what the right thing to do was. And I think a lot of people in weird situations just don't really know what to do. I mean, obviously someone breaks into your house, no duh, you're gonna call the cops. But if there's a situation where your neighbor is doing something weird, I was aware what she did was illegal, but it wasn't a direct threat to me physically, so I was a little bit like, and truth be told, I felt like if I had gone to the police, it would have been a very short thing, like, hey, my neighbor opened my mail. Cool. I don't want to say like they wouldn't care, but I do feel like unless there's an immediate threat, I don't think the police would have taken it super seriously, and I would have just looked crazy for, you know, doing that. I don't know. I mean, and is that a thing where you can convince yourself that you're the crazy one if you take action against the person? If anything of the sort happens again, there will be action taken. So, girl, I get blessed with such wonderful people in my life. I said to my mom about this situation, I don't have like particularly bad things happen to me, but I get things that make next to no sense that I wouldn't know how to explain to somebody, you know? But at the same time they bug me and I'm really confused about them. So that's my brand. I didn't hear anything from her for a while, and for a while I felt like the drama had pretty much concluded. I didn't really foresee anything else happening because I knew that my landlord had spoken to her, and that was really where I didn't feel the need to contact the police at that point because I didn't really want a whole spectacle here. The thought of police going to her house because of me, like that freaked me out even more. I was afraid she would snap if that happened. Who really knows? You know, people are unpredictable. I don't know her. I don't know what would really set her off. So the thought of even having police do a wellness check on her, even though that's probably what she needs, I didn't want that coming from me. And I don't know if you can do that anonymously. You probably can, but I was like, just not my circus, not my monkeys. I say that all the time, like, girl, really no. So I hadn't heard from her, and then one day my landlord texts me out of the blue. Betsy was wondering if you would want her cable set up. Actually, let me go read it. Let's get the receipts. It's really weird. Wondering if you needed all of her dish equipment. She wasn't sure if you had cable set up yet. I was really confused by that. I'm like, is she moving out? Why? I wouldn't take anything from her. That means I would have to interact with you. Like, no. She could offer me a car and I'd be like, nope, that's okay, bye. And I said, no, that's all right. She's been yelling outside for me like, oh, I got another visit from the neighbor. So she came to the door. I can hear her opening the screen door. My front door has 2 doors. So I heard the little screen door open and then I heard knocking on the door. Listen, in this day and age, I know who's gonna be at my door. They will text me. Does anyone else even ring a doorbell anymore? Like, you go to your friend's house, you text them like, oh, hey, I'm here. Like, I don't even ring anyone's doorbell, you know what I mean? Nowadays, either it's Amazon, DoorDash, or someone I really don't wanna talk to. The third being what this was. Oh. God bless her. Seriously, no, like, it's not even condescending. Like, actually, God bless her. I'm like, girl, I'm not. No. This day, I was actually pretty sick. I was in my pajamas. I'm not going to the door. I don't care if I'm home. Like, I don't have to answer my door to you. You ever see those memes where it's like sitting still to act like I'm not home when there's a knock at the door? That was me. I'm like, I'm just gonna go, I'm not here. But the creepy thing is, if you remember from my last video, her saying, I can hear your every step. And so I'm like, oh, she probably knows I'm here because she lives right underneath me. So like, she knows I'm here. Let me just say, I will never be the upstairs neighbor again. Like, mark my words, I hate it. I'd rather hear somebody above me than be paranoid about them knowing that I'm here. I actually miss the little 3-year-old that would run around at 2 o'clock in the morning now. That sounds great in comparison to this. The grass is always greener, kids. I mean, like, I'm glad she's not trying to sneak in and catch me in the shower or something like that. Like, that's cool, but still, it's not ideal. But anyway, she's knocking at the door. She stood there, I am not even exaggerating, for 5 solid minutes. When like the mailman or UPS or FedEx knocks on your door, I don't even think they wait anymore. I feel like they used to wait maybe like a minute and then they'll just leave. Who stands by somebody's front door knocking for 5 solid minutes? Like, constantly knocking, like not even stopping. She rung the doorbell a couple times. God help me, God make me disappear. You know that famous question, like, what superhero would you be? What superpower would you have? I would want Spider-Man's superpowers so I could open my window, fling a web outside, and just swing through a tree and be gone. That's what I want. That sounds great. This is, okay. Can I focus on one subject for more than 30 seconds? I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? She's not even leaving my front door. Then, I hear her screaming my name. I really wish I would have given her like the most awful name I could have thought of when I introduced myself. She's screaming my name outside. Adria. Like worse than how my mom does, like when I'm in trouble. Whomst the heck do you think you are? Honestly, to be screaming someone's name outside. Never even had a boy like me enough to do that, so like, damn. She must be obsessed with me. No, I'm kidding. But I was like, oh my gosh, are you actually serious? I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do because as she was doing it, she kind of like walked away from the door too and kind of came around to like where my windows are. It was like, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your long hair, but like, Adria, come to your door. Me as a fairy tale princess, honestly. Listen, girl, I'm not in a bra. Leave me alone. There's a reason we lock our doors. Unless I want to see you, I'm not gonna answer the door. Period. She left. I'm like, oh, thank you, God. I even felt kind of weird like walking around, like, I know she's gonna hear me walking. Ugh. It started to really make me paranoid. And if you think about how long ago I made this story time, like there was a long gap in between where there was 0 interaction, right? I texted my landlord when she was yelling outside, like, she's been yelling outside for me for 10 minutes. I'm not talking to her. And my landlord says, not sure what's wrong with her. I spoke to her yesterday regarding her washer and she was singing your praises. She said how much she likes you guys. What? I mean, like, who wouldn't like me, right? But what? talk about mixed messages. I think you should be nice to everybody. Even if you treat me like absolute garbage, I'll most likely still be nice to you. You know, like I had a girl punch me straight in the face one time and was like, did that hurt? And I'm just like, no, not really. Just talk about confusing, like singing my praises. I haven't even talked to her or seen her or anything. I said, I have no clue. She left a phone number at the door. Oh, I forgot to mention that. I was about to leave my apartment, and in the door, there's a magazine that had her address on it, and inside was, what's it called? What are they called? Index cards. Okay, brain, thank you. There was a little white index card with phone numbers and an address written on it, and it was written very sloppy, and there was someone's name and a whole address and a phone number, and it wasn't her name. It was an address that I looked up and is pretty far from here, and it's just some random house. So at this point, just imagine this for a second, okay? Imagine you actually think someone's legitimately stalking you, and you go ahead and give them your phone number and give them some form of address. You go from accusing me of stalking you to like, here's all my info, God bless. Never in all of my 25 years, like I'm so confused. So, I mean, I should prank call the number right now. No, I won't do that. If I didn't have like phone anxiety, maybe I would. So then my landlord says, she said yesterday she wanted to be friendly with you and maybe exchange numbers. I think she's a little off. Yeah, landlord, me too. Not renewing my lease, not staying here. Bye. So that's really kind of stinky. Like, it's a decent little apartment, and living in PA is really expensive, and this was a decent cost. You know, now when something seems too good to be true, it most definitely is. She then came on a Saturday morning when Brandon and I are just sitting on the couch watching some Degrassi, and he's like, just ignore her. I'll still be polite, like, but you know what? She said it best. I'm not your friend, I'm your neighbor. Except I did have this really nice neighbor that I always say, like, if I won like millions of dollars somehow, like I would find this guy and like give him like the best day of his life, because he was an angel. Like, he would actually come knock on the door and ask me if I had trash that needed to go out. If I put the trash like outside my front door, he would just come get it and just take it without even saying anything. Both of us like rode our bikes, and he'd be like, oh my gosh, it's a nice day for a bike ride. Like, literally just the nicest human being as far as neighbors go that I've ever encountered in my life. Never knew his name, never knew anything about him, never left my phone number in his door. He never did that to me. It was just like, there's just a way to exist as a good neighbor, and then there's a way not to. I've now seen how not to. Yesterday, there was a guy working on her car. I don't know if something happened to her car. Then I heard him at her front door, and she was screaming at him. It's like so much I could hear it from like at my kitchen sink washing celery off, right? You know what? This always seems to happen when I'm chopping celery, so I think that I need to stop eating celery. And then I just hear this poor car repairman say, like, I'm just trying to help you, and she's just going off. Like, I don't get it. And I know there's gonna be comments like, obviously there's something wrong with her. Like, you think? And I'm not even gonna pass judgment on that, because listen, sis, I have like 1,000,003 problems wrong with me, so that's fine. I think the minute your problems start affecting other people is when it's like, damn, should I do something? I'm no expert, but I think that she probably shouldn't live by herself. You know, if you're that paranoid that everybody's out to get you, you should just go live in assisted living and call it a day. I'm pretty sure I can hear her yelling downstairs now. And then the one day I heard her, she must have been on the phone, she was yelling about the government. And like, listen, sis, I've watched enough conspiracies, like, go off, please. But she sounded like terrified. It's very unsettling behavior. I don't want to be mean to her, but I also just don't want to be her friend. I just kind of just want to exist in the same building and not have any interaction. And sorry that that's asking too much, apparently. Along the same lines as, you know, people wondering why I didn't call the cops. Why did you film it if you didn't intend to like do any, like, oh, did you just film it just to make a video? The main reason that I filmed that encounter was because there's so many times I've had a weird encounter with someone that I wish I could have just had at least the audio recorded so that I could go back and make sense of it and have other people make sense of it for me, because I thank God that I filmed that, because I don't know if I could have really explained explained it to the full extent to my family and to Brandon. At the time, zero intention of making a video, like absolute zero. I didn't know what was gonna happen. Recording audio of encounters and things like that, it's mainly let me go back and make sense of this later. It's so easy to sit and watch a story time and say like, oh, you should have done this, shouldn't have done this. And I've done the same thing, you know? I've watched story times and thought to myself, oh my gosh, if only they would have just done this. But you know what? Sometimes it really isn't your circus and it really isn't your monkeys. And sometimes people just do what they think is best at the time, and that's it. We live, we learn, we grow. We get good neighbors, we get bad neighbors, we get weird things that make no sense, and we get things that make absolutely no sense. Did I just repeat myself? That is the update on my neighbor. If you enjoyed, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe if you haven't. I post new videos all the time. If you want to go watch my other videos before subscribing, that's cool, go do that as well. I understand wanting to try something out before you commit. I wish I could have temporarily checked out this apartment before I committed to it, because guess what, sis? I wouldn't have signed the lease. I also just filmed a video over on my ASMR channel. I haven't posted on it yet, but go subscribe if you like ASMR. I don't know. Go check that out. Yeah, I also want to do more mental health videos. I've gotten a lot of requests for those lately, so. And today's Twitter shout out goes to @saltedmotzi. Here's your shout out, Bree. She said she would die if she got one, so there you go, sis. I will see you guys again real soon. Panda hugs, love you guys. Goodbye. How am I gonna edit this and post this all today? Let's figure that out.